Jake Morrison woke up slowly like he always did on Saturday mornings. The sunlight was coming through the thin curtains of his dorm room at State University. He stretched his arms and yawned before turning over to check his phone for the time. It was almost 10 in the morning. His roommate, Alex Chen, was still sleeping in the bed next to his. Jake had gotten used to Alex being a heavy sleeper during their 6 months as roommates. Alex was always the last one to wake up on weekends. Jake sat up and rubbed his eyes. Something felt different about the room today, but he could not figure out what it was. The air seemed warmer than usual, and there was a strange humming sound that he had never noticed before. He looked around the small dorm room they shared. Everything looked normal. Their textbooks were still scattered on the desk. The mini fridge was making its usual noise in the corner. The smell of old pizza from last night still hung in the air. But then Jake looked at Alex and everything changed. Alex was lying on his side, facing away from Jake. But something was wrong with his appearance. Very wrong. Jake blinked hard and looked again. Alex's skin had a blue tint to it that definitely was not normal. His arms looked longer than they should be, much longer, and there were strange, dark lines running along his neck that looked like some kind of markings or tattoos. Jake felt his heart start beating faster. He must be dreaming. This could not be real. Alex was just a normal college student from California. He was studying computer science and loved playing video games. He ate pizza and complained about professors just like everyone else. But the person lying in the bed across from Jake looked nothing like the Alex he had been living with for months. The blue tint on Alex's skin was getting darker. The strange markings on his neck were becoming more visible. Jake could see that. Alex's hands were different too. His fingers were longer and thinner than human fingers should be. There were small ridges along his knuckles that Jake had never noticed before. Jake wanted to scream, but no sound came out of his mouth. He wanted to run, but his legs would not move. He just sat there staring at his roommate who was clearly not human. All those months of living together and Jake had never suspected anything. Alex had seemed so normal. He laughed at funny movies and got nervous before exams. He talked about his family back home and complained about the food in the cafeteria. But now Jake realized that everything had been a lie. Alex started making soft groaning sounds like he was in pain. His body was shaking slightly, and Jake could see sweat on his forehead. The blue tint on his skin was getting even darker, and the strange markings were glowing faintly. Jake realized that whatever was happening to Alex was making him sick. Despite his fear, Jake felt worried about Alex. Even if Alex was not human, he was still the person who had helped Jake with his math homework. He was still the guy who had stayed up late talking about movies and music. He was still the roommate who had brought Jake soup when he had the flu last month. Jake slowly got out of his bed and walked over to Alex. Up close, he could see that Alex's breathing was shallow and fast. His skin felt hot when Jake carefully touched his shoulder. Alex was definitely running a fever. A very high fever. Jake went to the bathroom and got a wet towel. He came back and gently placed it on Alex's forehead. Alex made a soft sound, but did not wake up. Jake got more wet towels and tried to cool Alex down. He had no idea what else to do. He could not call 911 because how would he explain that his roommate was not human? He could not call the school nurse for the same reason. For the next 2 hours, Jake stayed by Alex's side. He kept changing the wet towels and checking Alex's temperature. The fever seemed to be getting worse. The blue color in Alex's skin was spreading and the markings on his neck were glowing brighter. Jake was starting to panic. He did not know how to help someone who was not even from Earth. Around noon, Alex's eyes finally opened. But they were not the brown eyes that Jake remembered. They were a pale, silver color that seemed to glow slightly. Alex looked confused and scared. He tried to sit up but fell back down on the bed. "Jake," Alex said in a voice that sounded different from usual. It had a strange musical quality to it. "I can explain everything." Jake stared at his roommate. "You better start talking," he said quietly. "Because right now you look like something from a science fiction movie." Alex closed his silver eyes and took a deep breath. "My real name is Alexar Genka. I am from a planet called Zephyr. I came here as part of a mission to study humans. I have been using technology to look human, but something has gone wrong. The disguise is failing and I cannot fix it." Jake felt like the world was spinning around him. "You mean you are an alien? A real alien?" "Yes," Alex said softly. "I am sorry I lied to you. I never meant for you to find out this way. I was supposed to complete my mission and leave Earth without anyone knowing what I really was." Jake looked at his roommate, who was not really his roommate. "How long have you been here?" "Almost a year," Alex replied. "I have been studying at this university and learning about human behavior. My people wanted to know if humans were ready for contact with other species." "And what did you decide?" Jake asked. Alex smiled, and for a moment he looked like the old Alex that Jake knew. "I decided that humans are more amazing than my people ever imagined. You are kind and curious and brave. You care about each other even when you do not have to." Jake sat down on his bed and tried to process everything. His roommate was an alien from another planet. The person he had been living with for months was not even human. But somehow Jake did not feel angry or betrayed. He felt worried about Alex, who was clearly sick and scared. "What happens now?" Jake asked. "I do not know," Alex admitted. "If my people find out that my disguise has failed, they will take me away. They might also erase your memory of all this." Jake looked at Alex, who was still shaking with fever. "Well, we are not going to let that happen," he said firmly. "You are my roommate, and roommates help each other. We are going to figure this out together." The next 3 days were the strangest of Jake's life. He had to act normal around everyone else while secretly taking care of an alien roommate. Alex stayed in their dorm room claiming he had the flu. Jake brought him food from the cafeteria and made excuses when their friends wanted to visit. During those days, Jake learned more about Alex's real identity. The technology that made Alex look human was called a biomimetic suit. It was like a second skin that could change Alex's appearance completely. But something had gone wrong with the system, and now it was failing. The suit was designed to last for 2 years, Alex explained while Jake checked his temperature. It should have been easy to maintain, but something unexpected happened. Jake sat down next to Alex's bed. "What kind of unexpected thing?" Alex's silver eyes looked sad. "The suit was not designed to handle certain human emotions. My people did not think that would be a problem. We thought I would just observe humans from a distance and report back to my commanders." "But that is not what happened," Jake said. "No," Alex agreed. "I started to care about the humans I met. I started to care about you and our friends. The suit cannot handle those feelings. It is breaking down because I have formed emotional connections." Jake felt a strange mix of sadness and pride. His friendship with Alex was literally causing the alien technology to fail. "So your people do not form friendships like humans do?" "We have relationships, but they are different," Alex said. "We connect through shared thoughts and knowledge. But what humans call friendship is something we do not experience. The deep emotional bond you form with others is unique to your species. Jake spent hours each day researching bioengineering and alien technology online. Most of what he found was science fiction, but some research papers gave him ideas. He was studying bioengineering in college and had always been good at solving complex problems. Maybe the solution is not to fight the emotional connections, Jake suggested on the third day. Maybe we need to work with them instead. Alex looked interested. What do you mean? Well, you said the suit is failing because of emotions, right? But what if we could modify it to use those emotions as a power source instead of seeing them as a problem? Alex sat up in bed for the first time in days. That is a very human way of thinking. My people would try to eliminate the emotional factor, but you want to embrace it. Exactly, Jake said with excitement. Your people sent you here to learn about humans. Well, the most human thing we do is turn our emotions into strength. We use love and friendship to make us better than we could be alone. Over the next few hours, Jake and Alex worked together to understand how the biomimetic suit functioned. Alex explained the technical details while Jake applied his knowledge of human biology and engineering. It was amazing how well their different types of knowledge fit together. The suit worked by reading Alex's biological patterns and projecting a human appearance. But the emotional connections Alex had formed were changing his biological patterns in ways the original programmers had never expected. Instead of fighting these changes, Jake suggested they modify the suit to adapt to them. We need to create a new baseline for the suit, Jake explained. Instead of trying to make you look like a generic human, we make it work with who you have become. Alex was fascinated by Jake's approach. You mean instead of hiding my true nature, we blend it with my human experiences? Something like that, Jake said. You are not the same person who came to Earth a year ago. You have grown and changed because of your time here. The suit needs to reflect that growth. Working together, they began to modify the biomimetic system. Jake contributed his understanding of human emotional responses and biological functions. Alex provided the technical knowledge about Zephyrian technology. Neither of them could have solved the problem alone, but together they made progress. Jake was amazed by how smart Alex really was. Without the limitations of pretending to be human, Alex showed incredible knowledge about science and technology. But Alex was equally impressed by Jake's creativity and intuitive problem-solving. Humans think in ways that are completely different from my people, Alex told Jake. You make connections between ideas that seem unrelated. You find solutions that our most advanced scientists would never consider. And you guys have technology that is centuries ahead of what we have on Earth, Jake replied. Together we can do things that neither of our species could manage alone. As they worked, Jake realized that their friendship had become something special. They were not just roommates anymore. They were partners in a way that transcended species. Jake trusted Alex completely, even though Alex was an alien. And Alex trusted Jake with secrets that could change both their lives forever. The breakthrough came on the fourth day. Instead of trying to suppress Alex's emotional responses to humans, they created a new type of biomimetic field that was strengthened by those connections. The suit would read Jake's biometric data along with Alex's and use their friendship as a stabilizing factor. This is incredible, Alex said as they finished the modifications. The suit is not just working again. It is working better than it ever did before. Jake watched as Alex's appearance slowly returned to the familiar human form he had known for months. But now Jake could see subtle differences. Alex looked more relaxed and natural than he ever had before. "How do you feel?" Jake asked. Alex smiled, and it was a real smile, not the careful expression he had worn before. "I feel like myself for the first time since I came to Earth. I am still Zephyrian, but I am also the person I became by knowing you and living among humans." Jake felt proud of what they had accomplished together. But he also felt worried. "What happens when your people find out what we did?" Alex's expression became serious. "I do not know. This was not supposed to happen. My mission was supposed to be simple observation. But we have created something that has never existed before." "What do you mean?" "We have created a stable bond between a human and a Zephyrian," Alex explained. "Our species have never had this kind of connection before. My commanders will not know what to make of it." Jake looked at his friend and roommate. "Well, we will deal with that when it happens. Right now, what matters is that you are okay and we figured out how to fix the problem." Alex nodded. "Thank you, Jake. You could have turned me in or run away when you discovered the truth. Instead, you chose to help me. That is the most human thing I have ever experienced." "That is what friends do," Jake said simply. "We help each other no matter what." 2 weeks after fixing the biomimetic suit, Jake and Alex settled into a new routine. To everyone else, they were just normal college roommates again. But privately, they continued working together on improving the technology they had created. Jake found himself understanding complex scientific concepts that should have been far beyond his level. Alex gained new insights into human behavior that amazed even him. Their modified biomimetic system did more than just maintain Alex's human appearance. It created a connection between them that enhanced both their abilities. When they worked together on difficult problems, Jake could think faster and more clearly than ever before. Alex found that his analytical skills improved when he incorporated human emotional reasoning. "This should not be possible," Alex said one evening as they reviewed their latest research. "The connection between our minds is growing stronger every day." Jake looked up from his bioengineering textbook. "Maybe that is the point. Maybe this is what was supposed to happen when humans and Zephyrians meet." "My people would say that is impossible," Alex replied. "We have studied dozens of species across the galaxy. We have never formed bonds like this with any of them." "Well, humans are pretty stubborn about doing impossible things," Jake said with a grin. "It is kind of our specialty." The changes in both of them were becoming noticeable to others. Jake's professors were amazed by his sudden advancement in complex bioengineering concepts. His grades improved dramatically, and he began contributing ideas to graduate-level research projects. When Professor Martinez asked how he had made such rapid progress, Jake just said he had been studying with a very smart tutor. Alex was changing too. He had always been good at mimicking human behavior, but now he seemed to genuinely understand it. He laughed at jokes that would have confused him before. He showed real concern for their friends' problems. He even started dating a girl named Lisa from their chemistry class. "Is it weird dating a human when you are not human yourself?" Jake asked one night. Alex considered the question carefully. "At first I thought it would be just part of maintaining my cover. But now I genuinely care about Lisa. These feelings are real, even if my appearance is artificial." "Do you think you will tell her the truth someday?" "I do not know," Alex admitted. "What we have accomplished together is already beyond what either of our species thought possible. Adding more people to the secret might be dangerous." Jake understood Alex's caution, but he also felt bad about the deception. Lisa was a good person who cared about Alex. She deserved to know the truth about who she was dating. But Jake also knew that revealing Alex's identity could put everyone in danger. The biomimetic suit now required Jake's biometric data to function properly. Every few days, Alex had to sync the system with Jake's biological patterns. This process involved Jake placing his hand on a small device that looked like a smartphone. The device would scan his vital signs and emotional state, then transmit that data to Alex's suit. During one of these sessions, Jake noticed something unusual. "The readings show my stress levels are really low lately. Lower than they have been since I started college." "Mine too," Alex said, looking at his own readings. "Even though we are dealing with a situation that should be incredibly stressful, we both seem more balanced than before." Jake thought about this for a moment. Maybe having someone who truly understands you makes everything else easier to handle. That could be it, Alex agreed. I have never had a relationship where I could be completely honest about who I am. Even with my own people, I had to hide parts of myself to fit in. "What do you mean?" Alex sat down on his bed and looked thoughtful. "Zephyrian society values logic and efficiency above all else. Showing too much curiosity or emotion is seen as a weakness. I always felt like I did not quite fit in. And now I feel like I can be myself for the first time ever. The logical Zephyrian part of me and the emotional human part I have developed can coexist." Jake felt a deep sense of connection to his friend. "I know what you mean. I have always been good at science, but I also care a lot about people. Some of my professors think that makes me soft, but working with you has shown me that logic and emotion can make each other stronger." Their partnership attracted attention in ways they had not expected. Jake's sudden improvement in his studies caught the notice of the university administration. He was invited to join advanced research projects and offered opportunities that were usually reserved for graduate students. Alex's behavior changes were noticed too, but in a different way. Their friends commented on how much more relaxed and genuine he seemed. Lisa told Jake that Alex had become much more open and caring in their relationship. "Whatever you two have been doing in your room, it is working," their friend Mike said during lunch one day. "Alex used to be kind of distant and mechanical. Now he actually seems human." Jake nearly choked on his sandwich. "What do you mean mechanical?" "You know how he used to talk like he was reading from a script," Mike explained. "And he never really got our jokes or understood why things were funny. But now he laughs at the right times and actually makes jokes himself." Jake looked at Alex, who was sitting across the table from them. Alex caught his eye and gave a small smile. They both understood what was happening. The biomimetic suit was not just making Alex look human anymore. It was helping him think and feel in more human ways, while still maintaining his Zephyrian abilities. But their success was about to create new problems. That evening, Jake received an email from Professor Martinez asking him to meet the next day to discuss his recent work. The email mentioned that some colleagues from other universities were interested in Jake's research methods. "This could be trouble," Alex said when Jake showed him the email. "If they investigate too closely, they might discover our collaboration." Jake felt nervous for the first time in weeks. "What should I do?" "We need to be very careful," Alex replied. "My people monitor human scientific progress. If Earth scientists suddenly make major breakthroughs in bioengineering, it will trigger attention from Zephyrian Command." "You mean your bosses might check up on you?" "Exactly. And if they discover what we have accomplished, they will want to know how it happened." Jake realized they were at a turning point. Their partnership had been incredibly successful, but it was becoming harder to hide. Maybe we should prepare for the possibility that we will be discovered. Alex nodded seriously. We need to document everything we have done. If my people find out about our work, I want them to understand that this was not an accident or a malfunction. This was a conscious choice to work together. That night, they began preparing a complete record of their collaboration. They documented the technical details of how they had modified the biomimetic suit. They recorded the biological and emotional changes they had both experienced. Most importantly, they tried to explain why their partnership had been so successful. Human creativity and Zephyrian knowledge complement each other perfectly, Alex said as they worked on their report. Humans see possibilities where we see only problems. We provide the technical expertise to make human ideas reality. And together we can accomplish things that neither species could do alone, Jake added. This is not about one species being superior to the other. It is about what we can achieve through cooperation. As they worked, Jake felt both excited and scared about the future. Their friendship had already changed both their lives in amazing ways, but he had a feeling that their story was just beginning. The meeting with Professor Martinez went better than Jake had expected. The professor was impressed by Jake's recent work, but did not ask too many difficult questions. Jake managed to explain his progress by saying he had been collaborating with a very talented study partner. He avoided giving specific details about Alex's contributions, but 3 days later, everything changed. Jake was returning from his evening classes when he saw strange lights coming from his dorm room window. He rushed upstairs and found the door to his room standing open. Inside, he saw Alex standing in the middle of the room facing 3 figures who definitely were not human. The visitors were tall and slender like Alex, but they had not bothered to disguise their appearance. Their skin had the same blue tint that Jake had seen when Alex's biomimetic suit was failing. They wore form-fitting silver clothing that seemed to glow with its own light. Their eyes were the same pale silver color as Alex's real eyes. "Jake," Alex said without turning around. "I would like you to meet Commander Vex, Dr. Kira, and Agent Zara. They are my colleagues from the Zephyrian reconnaissance mission." Jake stepped into the room and closed the door behind him. His heart was beating fast, but he tried to appear calm. "Hello," he said simply. Commander Vex was the tallest of the 3 aliens. She had markings along her neck and arms that were more elaborate than Alex's. When she spoke, her voice had the same musical quality as Alex's, but it sounded cold and distant. "Human Jake Morrison," she said formally. "We have come to retrieve Agent Alex Argenka and correct the anomalies in his mission. Parameters." "Anomalies?" Jake asked, looking at Alex. Dr. Kira stepped forward. She appeared to be studying Jake with great interest. "Agent Alexar has formed unauthorized emotional connections with local subjects. His biomimetic system has been modified, using unknown technology. These deviations from mission protocol must be investigated." Jake felt angry at the way they were talking about Alex like he was just a machine that had malfunctioned. "Alex is not broken," he said firmly. "He has been doing exactly what you sent him here to do. He has been learning about humans." Agent Zara made a sound that might have been laughter. "The human shows protective behavior toward our agent. Fascinating. The emotional contamination appears to be mutual." "It is not contamination," Alex said, speaking for the first time since Jake had entered the room. "It is evolution. Jake and I have accomplished something that neither of our species has achieved before. Commander Vex looked skeptical. You have compromised your mission and revealed your identity to a human subject. This is a serious violation of protocol. Look at what they have done together, Alex said, gesturing toward their research materials, scattered around the room. We have solved problems that our best scientists have struggled with for years. We have created a stable biomimetic system that adapts and grows stronger over time. Dr. Kira picked up one of their research notebooks and examined it carefully. The technical modifications are indeed impressive, but the emotional component introduces unpredictable variables. Jake could not stay quiet any longer. Those unpredictable variables are what make us human, and they are what made our partnership successful. Alex did not get weaker by caring about humans. He got stronger. Commander Vex turned her attention to Jake. You speak with authority about matters beyond your understanding human. Agent Alexar was sent here to observe, not to integrate. Maybe your original plan was wrong, Jake said boldly. Maybe the best way to understand humans is not to watch us from a distance, but to actually connect with us. The three Zephyrians exchanged glances in a way that suggested they were communicating without speaking. Jake realized they might be telepathic or have some other form of mental connection. The human makes an interesting point, Dr. Kira said after a moment. Agent Alexar's reports have contained insights about human behavior that exceed our previous understanding. Alex moved to stand beside Jake. Jake is right. I learned more about humanity in the last month of working with him than I did in my first 11 months of observation. And what exactly did you learn? Commander Vex asked. Alex looked at Jake, then back at his commander. I learned that humans do not just survive through cooperation. They thrive through it. Their ability to form deep emotional bonds with others makes them stronger, not weaker. I learned that human creativity comes from their willingness to take risks and try impossible things, Alex continued. They do not accept limitations the way we do. They find ways to turn problems into opportunities. Jake felt proud hearing Alex describe human nature so positively, but he also wanted the Zephyrians to understand what Alex had brought to their partnership. Alex taught me things too, Jake said, addressing Commander Vex directly. His logical thinking and technical knowledge helped me solve problems I never could have figured out alone. We make each other better. Dr. Kira was examining the biomimetic device that Alex wore. The modifications to this system are extraordinary. The integration of human emotional patterns has created a hybrid technology that surpasses our original design. That is what happens when different species work together. Instead of just studying each other, Jake said, you get results that nobody expected. Agent Zara had been quiet during most of the conversation, but now she spoke up. Commander, the human's vital signs show no deception. He genuinely believes in the value of this partnership. Commander Vex looked at Jake with what might have been respect. You are not afraid of us human, Jake. Why? Jake thought about the question carefully. Because Alex is my friend, and anyone who cares about Alex cannot be completely bad. Besides, you came here to learn about humans, right? So maybe you should try actually listening to one. Alex smiled at Jake's boldness. This is exactly what I meant about human courage. Jake is facing 3 aliens who could easily overpower him, but he stands his ground because he believes in what we have accomplished together. The Zephyrians spent the next hour examining Jake and Alex's research. They tested the modified biomimetic system and interviewed both of them about their collaboration. Jake was nervous, but Alex stayed calm and answered all their questions honestly. Finally, Commander Vex made a decision that surprised everyone. "We will not terminate this mission," she announced. "Agent Alexar and human Jake have created something unprecedented. This partnership may be the key to successful contact between our species." Dr. Kira nodded in agreement. "The data suggests that human-Zephyrian collaboration produces results superior to what either species can achieve independently." Jake felt relief flooding through him. "So Alex can stay?" "Agent Alexar will continue his mission, but with new parameters," Commander Vex explained. "He will study human-Zephyrian cooperation using his partnership with you as a model." Alex looked happier than Jake had ever seen him. "We can keep working together?" "You will do more than that," Agent Zara said. "You will become the foundation for a new type of relationship between our peoples." As the three Zephyrian visitors prepared to leave, Commander Vex addressed Jake one final time. "Human, Jake Morrison, you have shown us something we did not expect to find on Earth. You have shown us that true strength comes not from standing alone, but from choosing to stand together." After the aliens left, Jake and Alex sat in their room trying to process what had just happened. "I cannot believe they agreed to let us continue," Alex said. Jake grinned at his friend and roommate. "I told you humans are good at doing impossible things." 6 months later, Jake and Alex were no longer just roommates sharing a small dorm room. They had become the center of the most important scientific collaboration in human history. State University had been transformed into the first official Earth Zephyr research facility, where humans and Zephyrians worked together on projects that neither species could accomplish alone. Jake walked through the new research building that had been constructed in record time with Zephyrian technology and human engineering. The building itself was a symbol of what could be achieved through cooperation. It combined the advanced materials and energy systems of Zephyrian science with human architectural creativity and environmental awareness. "The latest test results are incredible," Alex said, joining Jake in the main laboratory. "The hybrid biomedical system we developed last month is showing success rates of 97%. Jake smiled as he looked at the data on Alex's tablet. Their original work on the biomimetic suit had led to breakthroughs in medical technology that were helping people all over the world. Human doctors working with Zephyrian healers had found new ways to treat diseases that had been considered incurable. "Dr. Martinez wants to nominate us for the Nobel Prize," Jake said. "Can you imagine explaining this whole story to the Nobel Committee?" Alex laughed, and Jake was struck again by how natural and genuine his friend's laughter had become. "I think we would have to start with the part about me being an alien." The revelation of Alex's true identity had gone much better than either of them had expected. When they finally told their friends and professors the truth, the reactions had been amazement rather than fear. Lisa had been shocked at first, but ultimately she felt honored that Alex had trusted her enough to share his secret. "I always knew there was something special about you," she had told Alex. "I just thought it was because you were really smart. I never guessed it was because you were from another planet." The official first contact between Earth and the Zephyrian Collective had taken place 3 months ago. Jake and Alex had been there as Earth's representatives met with a delegation of Zephyrian scientists and diplomats. The ceremony had been held at the United Nations building in New York with leaders from every nation on Earth in attendance. Jake remembered the moment when Commander Vex had addressed the world's leaders. She had explained that the Zephyrians had been studying human civilization for over 50 years. They had sent reconnaissance teams to dozens of planets, but had never found a species quite like humanity. Humans possess a unique combination of intelligence, creativity, and emotional depth, Commander Vex had said. Most species in the galaxy develop either advanced technology or strong social bonds. Humans have developed both. This makes them valuable partners for any civilization that wishes to grow and learn. The partnership between Earth and Zephyr had grown rapidly. Zephyrian science had helped humans solve problems with energy production, environmental restoration, and space travel. Human creativity and social skills had helped Zephyrians develop better relationships with other species across the galaxy. Jake's role had evolved from student to diplomatic liaison. He spent his time helping human and Zephyrian researchers understand each other and work together effectively. It was challenging work, but also the most rewarding thing he had ever done. The delegation from the Andromedan Republic arrives next week, Alex said as they walked through the facility. They specifically requested to meet with you and learn about human diplomatic methods. Jake felt proud but also nervous about meeting representatives from another alien civilization. The Andromedans were reportedly very different from both humans and Zephyrians. They were a silicon-based life form that communicated through electromagnetic pulses rather than spoken language. "Do you think we can help them the same way we helped each other?" Jake asked. "I think so," Alex replied. "The principles we discovered seem to work with any species. Respect, curiosity, and willingness to learn from each other appear to be universal values." They had documented their methods in a guide that was now being used by diplomatic teams across the galaxy. The Morrison-Chen Protocol, as it had become known, emphasized emotional connection and collaborative problem-solving over traditional negotiation tactics. Jake and Alex had also become teachers. They ran workshops for human diplomats and Zephyrian agents who were working on other worlds. Their most important lesson was that successful cooperation required both species to change and grow, rather than trying to maintain their original identities. "I got a message from my family today," Alex said as they reached his office. "They want to visit Earth next month." "That's great," Jake said. "Are you nervous about them meeting your human friends?" Alex considered the question. "A little. My parents are very traditional Zephyrians. They do not understand emotional relationships the way I do now. But I think meeting you and the others will help them see why this partnership is so important." Jake understood Alex's concerns. Not all Zephyrians had embraced the new relationship with humanity. Some believed that emotional connections made their people weak and unpredictable. But the success of the Earth-Zephyr collaboration was gradually changing minds throughout the collective. Similarly, some humans had been skeptical about working with aliens. There had been protests and political debates about whether Earth should trust the Zephyrians. But the clear benefits of the partnership had won over most skeptics. New medical treatments, clean energy technology, and advances in space exploration had improved life for people all over the planet. "Jake," Alex said as they sat down in his office, "do you ever regret that morning when you found out who I really was?" Jake thought about everything that had happened since that confusing and frightening morning in their dorm room. His life had become more complicated and stressful than he had ever imagined.